of his bunghole. Oh, that's fun.
Hello.
Salutations, infidels. I'm trying something new. It doesn't work. I'm going to stop immediately. I apologize, infidels. Anyways, welcome to another episode of Take a Breath, our post-session review of our Chronicles The Last Breath on Saturdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch.tv. I'm joined today by, who wants to go first?
I'm Gabe,
Dr. Sexy.
the Tremere, who causes weird things to happen, and
I'm just Junie.
Just
AKA
Junie.
Storyteller Supreme, aka
All of the NPCs.
yeah, Gwen.
I am
Gwendom-
my own party.
Gwendomus.
Just Junie, as if being the storyteller wasn't important. Like,
You know,
Gwendomus
you don't need
Von
if I
Morgan.
didn't have the players, I couldn't have the fun.
Yeah, that's fair. And I myself am Frank and William, and the actor formerly known as James. Welcome to Take a Breath. So let's dive on in, and
I just took
a lot to unpack from yesterday.
Yes.
A lot on my side, less for you guys. I apologize. It's all about William at all times.
there was a surprising amount of William yesterday.
I was surprised. Okay, every time that William shows up, I'm like, I did not even factor him in, motherfucker.
It's like, oh shit. It's like my players have extra players that they can play, or characters they can play.
It's like he comes with his own bag of NPCs.
I've written up a few of my own for William for you to use.
Speaking of NPCs, we do have a surprise for William next session.
Oh, I was about to give you his character sheet and not play him again since he's in the proper position.
Oh, no. You think he was in the proper position, but no. Viv and I have docked.
Oh, do you hear that? That's the sound of somebody getting staked.
No,
I digress.
Hold on,
That's okay. It's just a regular theme, not like a Shaft of Belated Consequence or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be
that
miserable.
fuck.
Yeah.
Thanks for the sub.
Oh. Hey, thank yous. Welcome to the family.
No.
Or welcome to the table, I guess is a better way to say. Make yourself at home, grab a book, stay for a while, and listen.
We have plenty of character sheets.
Just don't ask us to help because I don't know how to make characters.
Unless they're Malks.
Yeah, Malks or
If they're not a Malk, we're fucked.
Trooper,
Well, you said Trubrufers, but
and Thinburger,
He says
and
that.
Warlocks in D&D 5e. That's it. I'm a one-shot
Warlocks.
pony. All right, well, let's dive on in. We go ahead, Junie. My apologies.
Oh no, I was gonna say I just made my first character in D&D from using D&D Beyond.
Garug?
Goblin
happy
rogue,
DM is
so.
happy.
I still don't understand D&D Beyond, but we can touch on that post credits.
Oh yeah, no.
I can take
this.
you on a ride for D&D Beyond. Don't
There
you
we
worry.
go. Oh yay!
Actually, I
Yeah.
wish that they would make a World of Darkness Beyond, so you could just do that instantly.
Be nice.
Yeah,
Really
it's almost
nice.
like we should get on top of that.
You know.
If only we knew people that did art and new websites. And anyways, let's get into the episode. Are you having a seizure right there? Like your eyes is spazzing hardcore.
Yeah,
Whoa, my brain just had thoughts, and thoughts spiraled into other thoughts. But we'll get to that later.
Welcome to the world of Malcav.
Not
All right, so
wrong.
yesterday's episode, open scene. Junie, do you want to touch base on what perils befits the coterie?
Sure. Hi. How are y'all?
All right, so long and short is we had a carryover episode from last week where
That's it.
at the end we found out Artemis was Vampnapped. We were coming up with a plan of attack, trying to figure out what to do because there was a couple different players, in play. Josh was looking to drop off some goods, aka a person, another NPC, with Frank, because Frank could be trusted.
Why are we trusting Frank again?
I have no idea.
It worked out in the end, and he got paid.
I didn't understand Josh's game plan with that, but
Protecting one of his assets that he was concerned about.
Yeah, that's true.
It was
Okay.
worth paying me out in full. So, anyways,
That's right.
a
I
couple
did
different,
pay you out. I forgot.
Yeah,
I
that was one of the
totally forgot about that
stipulations.
shit.
Is Frank wanted out of his contract because he's no longer an alchemist. I mean, he still knows of things, but he can't do things anymore. So he's less a fixer and more a breaker.
Oh God, I forgot all about that. I paid you out in full.
Yeah, that's the reason why I was like, yeah, so $250,000, cool. We talked about that yesterday during session, actually. But anyway, so that happened. Instead, let's get to the point where the party regroups. Gabe was contacted to meet up, if I remember right, at the building where the Abomination and the Fae touched. I'm just going to use that word because I'm not going to say Kia said 1,000 times and get it right.
There. And then we got there. Well, Frank had gone off to go do something, get a van.
Yeah, I was supposed to go collect a vehicle and
We know you were
collect
doing something else.
the Romani. Not the Romani, it was the Ukrainian Esmeralda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because mine,
And-
Williams was the Romani. She's
They're
the
both.
other hero. Oh, she's the
And
Romani. as well.
somehow along the way, I guess it was taking place off camera. You had stopped by at William's place.
No.
And it got,
William.
So I can fill a little bit more in on that front.
yeah, yeah.
So the party arrives ahead of Frank. Frank was actually trailing the SUV that the party was in from a far distance on his bike because he shot a text to Josh saying, hey, change of plans. Something bigger came up. I need you to drop off the package at Nick's. She can be trusted. I will collect as soon as possible. And then just followed you guys from behind and waited until you'd parked and pulled up my bike over off to the side and basically just, stood in silence until William showed up because William shows up about the same time that Frank did and mesmerizes Frank just saying, stay here and protect my sister. And unfortunately with an 11 roll versus a crit 8, Frank really didn't have a choice in the matter.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So while that was happening,
You guys were on the roof.
Gable, Charmelia, and the puppy were going up to the roof, where we saw both Artemis and another one of the Romani were
Williams
being
Romani.
hung basically from the top of this scaffold, I'm assuming.
Crane.
Crane, yeah.
The scaffolding holds a crane, and the
Okay.
crane extends outwards, and then it usually has a hook or something like that. They were tied up upside down on a hook.
Gotcha. So we saw that, went up to the top, and when we got up there, after doing a little bit of sniffing and sensing, I keep wanting to say Sikid, the Fae thing, the Fae Pyre, yeah, Kiasid, sort of revealed herself, saying that she had wanted to talk with Amelia and had done this to try to get a hold of Amelia in the coterie, and Amelia was not having it. Amelia was pissed.
You don't fuck with my family. Rawr.
But here's the funny thing: if
The
you
funny
don't,
thing is,
she wanted her pissed. She wanted to push the buttons because she thought it was funny and interesting.
oh, it's almost like the fairies have a different personality type than everyone else.
And the best thing is
the
that
bastards.
this one was tortured for quite a many year. So for this, she's actually getting enjoyment out of it.
Oh, one of those broads. Creepy.
So while Amelia's getting all pissed off and shit,
He's getting off
Kiasid's
on it.
like, yes, show me
Oh,
your
God.
dark side. I want
God.
to see this.
So in
Oh,
short,
yeah.
Kiasid's a gusher. All right. Take a bite and it explodes in your mouth. I mean,
You're
There you
not
go.
wrong.
There you go.
I digress. So at that point, y'all were able to talk out, saying, "Hey, release the broad." release her."
Somehow, despite Amelia's harsh tones, we were able to talk our way out of getting them released, which
And
surprised the
Abel-
hell out of me. I was ready to throw up
Rumble.
change of binding and all this other shit.
6 hours of prep.
But I
I'll
don't
do
know
it
how
now.
she
Notice it.
managed to do that. I was very.
It wasn't
told to
her.
me. It was
wasn't her.
It was Abel giving the phone
It was
number.
Abel. Oh, okay.
That
Yeah,
innocence.
well,
Saved the party.
Sweet Abel.
Right? He's
Sweet.
good for this unworld.
It was actually between, because I had done a couple of roles. It was between Tonari and Abel.
Well, yeah, because Tonari was a bit more like, what do you want? Like, trying to get to the point of things.
Pretty much. And every time Amelia was trying to be all tough and everything, it was easy to talk around her and talk into circles because she wasn't being direct. And it was always like, ooh, let's just make more and more circles because this is pissing her off and then I'm enjoying this.
Yeah. Gabe wasn't going to say anything. Gabe was waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd actually messaged Abel at one point. I kind of wanted to clarify this with you. If I could do 2 chains of binding at once, I didn't assume I just could.
One.
See, that's what I thought, and that would have been my game plan to try to grab Artemis. But
that leads to a bigger question.
Mm-hmm.
Using chains of binding, you can only use one. Now, what if they're huge chains? Like, big enough to grab 2 people in theory.
I think they specify wrapping around one.
One person? Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking
because I would have used chains of binding to stop Artemis from falling.
Gotcha.
That would have been the game plan. But it turned out that we didn't have to do that. So
yeah. And I mean, you had Frank on the ground floor because of the fucking mesmerize that was gonna literally burn himself out using Clotho's gift, just chaining, slowing them down using leaden moments so that they didn't hit the ground.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could have turned to Ash because William's command was protector and fuck.
So we managed, or Amelia and Tonari and Abel managed to get them to have Artemis and the other Romani taken down from the chains, talk things out, numbers were given, and then the Fave Pyre, Kiasid, right?
Yep, Kiasid.
Okay, I gotta write that down. Kiasid. Kiasid. Got it. So then they sort of like ran off as well as the Abomination.
They just fell off.
Oh, they fell off. That's right.
And they landed a couple floors down where Frank saw them.
Somebody like grabbed them, or they?
Yeah, somebody pulled them into a window. About 5 stories down or 4 stories down, based on what Frank saw. And
then with some really good like wits and awareness rolls, some people were able to spot the fact that we were being watched by tons of people. Yeah, a bunch of camis. Yeah,
camis, and you had already you had snipers and such, and you had drones.
Yeah.
Yay, we didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah, and no powers were popped. Like there was 0 break of
6 hours of preparation.
I don't even think outside of wits and awareness we really had to do any rolls. Like at that point. Yeah.
I mean it was a very it was played how vampires should be played. Less violence and more.
So we managed to get Artemis. Amelia had a nice little scolding session. While Olivia took the other Romani down to the van, and then so she was yelling at Artemis. And Artemis sort of
yell at Artemis.
Yeah. And then Artemis had sort of like skulked off a little, and that was when William showed up.
Yeah, William was coming up the stairwell to the top to.
But the best part is the info dump.
I don't remember any of it. So
because Artemis had given us 2 flash drives.
I gave you 2 flash. Yeah. She gave you 2 flash drives, and she gave 2 flash drives over to Amelia.
Now the one that was for Amelia had basically Olivia's family tree lineage, which connected certain people together, both human and vampire.
And later on, you guys discovered werewolf.
Right. Oh. So that was helpful. And then the flash drive that was given to Gabe, one of them had information regarding a patient 0 for this curse. And then the other one... What was the other one?
Had shown you several other different incidents where curses were enabled in humans
and that's where Frank
vampires.
Shined a little.
And also it showed that certain digs had this many humans cursed, this many vampires had died, things like that.
Right. So after we got back, Gabe sat down, watched that information, passed it on to Frank to keep him in the loop and to get his
Midnight
input.
Oil rather, and just rode him out into notepad that he gave back to.
Meanwhile, Amelia reviewed the information for Olivia's flash drive, and then later on in the evening, Abel came to Gabe and was like, "Can you get me into the Tremere Chantry to help me find more information about Daniel Early,
his sire?"
To which Gabe was like, "I can try, but I can also do this thing." Which was scry on Daniel Early. Kind of learned that he was in an Elysium somewhere in the Germanic area, whether that was Austria or, Germany. I'm trying to think what else happened.
There was another item that occurred that got undershadowed because of the info dump. But there was a little bit of strife with the coterie in regards to the Romanis.
Yeah.
There was a threat of someone staking the newbie for arguing with him about his charge.
Right, because Olivia kind of wanted to protect them, and but you were following your orders to just we had also learned more or less that William had sort of taken over Josh's position. And
just rode up on that bitch and took it over.
Yeah, more or less.
If no one's home, then.
And I don't think that there was really anything else that night, was there?
No. Artemis just texted a thank you and I'm sorry to Amelia. Other than that, you guys kind of just faded into sleep.
Yeah. So we resolved a couple goals throughout the week. Do you want to start with yours or?
I mean, you're on a roll, so I'm not going to interrupt.
Oh, the only thing that I really had was checking in with Patient Zero to sort of have him walk me through what had happened, to find out who he worked for, to find out, where the items were going to, and then was to take Abel to the Chantry with Morgan's permission to see if we can find out more information about Daniel Early, which confirmed that at least as recently as 20 years ago, he was in Germany.
Right.
Which sparked the conversation of let's go to Germany. So that was on my end. Yeah. Yeah.
And there were a couple other machines that were running at that time. At least in regards to Frank's goals, he was focused on making sure that Josh's broad was more or less taken care of. And since he was the closest to being human, at least in the most recent past, like even as close as Olivia, he still knew how to do cooking and basic things. So he was just like,
he didn't
ramen.
Burn the ramen.
I didn't burn water. Like, more importantly,
I can't claim that I have ever not done that.
I've never done that because I don't cook. So,
yeah,
right? Worst husband ever. But yeah, so that was in regards to Frank. He had focused on that. He got paid out in full, $250,000 paid out of his contract as fixer/alchemist under Josh. So no connection to the former Baron. William was not yet Baron at that time. He had waited until a little bit later on into the week when he reached out to Anastasia to verify if Josh is officially out. And then when that was confirmed, he was just like, well, I have a throne to take, and just kicked down the door and told Tony, well, he doesn't work here anymore. I'm your captain now, and proceeded down to the basement and familiarized himself with all the paperwork, accounts, and started going through the logistical sides of things. And that brings up another thing that's another goal for later, Junie. He wants to check, have a couple of different kin come in and verify if the room is bugged.
Oh, I already have plans for that.
Oh, good. Well, I'm going to have them removed. Anyways.
Oh, no! I have plans for Kindred coming in for you to helping William take over his barony.
Oh, great.
Oh, wait. What's the sound?
It's the sound of the coterie taking over.
No. It's the sound of NPCs that we've made at the beginning of this session, or beginning of this series. Now they actually get to come into play.
Oh, yay, the Russians. I'm happy about this.
Sure.
Yay.
No.
Anyways, so that happened a little bit later on in the week in regards to William's goals. He made sure that various invoices were processed properly, reached out to the Camarilla contact that Josh was previously corresponding with to say, yes, under my barony, everything will be perfectly fine. Don't worry about a damn thing. And there was one other line item. It was the second thing that you had said yesterday.
Was it
the Reapers?
It was after the. Yeah, no, it was before the Reapers, but it was after the invoice, but before the Camarilla. It was the second line item you mentioned.
I thought that was make sure people got paid, like your sister.
No, that was the third line item that was the second line item. The second line item was invoice. First one was Camarilla that he took care of directly, and then there was another thing that Tony had taken care of that was pissant work.
Connections. I think it was connections or something like that.
Yeah, it was NOS Network. It was something to do with building those connections, I believe. But yeah, so that's more or less what occurred with William, rather. I don't remember Amelia's. Abel's was to go to the Camarilla Tremere crew with you.
Right. I think Olivia's was dealing with her family history.
Yeah, it was Russian connections of some sort.
Yeah.
Tapping people for information.
They'd also asked Gabe at one point to do like a Taste for Blood on the Romani.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you did both, if I remember right, from what Junie had said.
Yeah.
Because they'd gotten 2 different vials of blood from them. Right. Just to verify.
One was, normal kind of human. The other one tasted a little more yummier, but wasn't completely mage.
And that's the one that William was working with, yes?
Yes.
Just verifying.
Yeah.
And then come next Saturday, we did our rouse check. Some people were hungry, others weren't. William's still filling out his shoes well. If I remember right, his sister reached out to him.
Yes. Yeah.
At that point, he was just like, well, hello, dear sister.
Yes!
That was after
yes.
somebody had told Gabe about the barony, right?
Yes. Because I think what had brought it up was somebody had said that, like, Josh was in hiding, and then the question became, like, well, who's in charge of the barony now? And we were like, oh boy, who do we know wants to be in charge of the barony? And Gabe was like, well, there's William.
So then, congratulations.
So then it was the congratulatory text.
Super formal constituents and using Gabriel instead of Gabe.
Right. And there was some question about what was Amelia going to do for money, and then oh no, Abel hasn't been paid by Josh. So Amelia was talking to William about sort of doing a contract with him.
Yeah, because she wanted to play both sides of the table.
Right, but also wanted to play both sides of the table. And within that, William
processed that invoice under Josh's account previously.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and also made her a Reaper.
Yep, yes. At the same time, and offered $100K more a year than Josh was giving her originally.
Right, and there was multiple phone calls. I think there was 2 phone calls with this, because you also had wound up offering Abel a job as well.
Yep, as her right hand, because he realized that things wouldn't... Reapers shouldn't go alone.
Right.
True.
But between the 2 phone calls, Amelia had gotten in touch with Josh about meeting up to settle... under the guise, I guess, of renegotiating her contract / settling Abel's debt.
Yes.
So we let William know that we were going to be meeting him at Nyx's, to where Nyx had offered us the use of her underground pit.
At which time William also said, feel free to kill him if you'd like. You have my permission. And
yeah.
That turned into a kind of thing.
We knew that was going to be something William had wanted. So
Yeah. But, it's different actually having permission of a Baron for his area to do that. Like, otherwise, you run into breaking Anarch laws and nasty business like that. It's easier to think ahead than think behind.
Take a Baron out with the new Baron,
Yeah. Clean up the trash.
Right. So
fucking traitor, but we'll get to that.
I think that was pretty much the gist of the phone calls, right?
Yep, that more or less covered my side of the things, yeah.
I know Gabe and William are going to have a sleepover this week.
Aww.
If I remember right, William did invite him over to
Yeah.
discuss possible business opportunities. So
He did.
he'll probably carry on the research and various. He'll probably also he'll focus on the research that Josh was working on previously, anything that you might have been involved with, and then he'll push a little bit further towards the circulatory system to try to weed out any Josh sympathizers that might try to cause discourse by tainting blood and causing hell in my new barony. I've got to protect my constituents now. I'm thinking bigger picture, which is rare for William, but necessary.
Yeah, this will be entertaining to see how you and Josh try to out-baron each other.
Well, he's not in my territory anymore, but since he's working on connecting with the circulatory system, I mean, that would be a prime focal point for William anyways, because that's where vamps get their blood for the most part, short of getting it off the streets.
So following those phone calls, we did go to Nyx's bar, where
info dump.
Where we had more info dump from Nyx, particularly that Josh had jumped to Cammy, and that more or less, she's like, Gwen's there, Josh is Cammy, but like underneath my bar, like
you're all kindred.
Yeah. So, I think before going down there, Frank did meet with Gwen.
Briefly, yes. Because in case something should happen to him, just because of the bloodline being shared between them as true Brujah, he didn't want that favor going to waste, because in society, favors are currency. And that is the best gift he could give her should he fail.
Right.
Turns out later on, well, we'll get to that. Fuck traitors. So that conversation was made briefly. Gwen did also reinforce the fact that Josh had jumped to the Camarillo.
Correct.
Which was a nice little verification.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gabe had also given Amelia the shaft of belated dissolution that he'd made, leaving it up to her to make that call, but giving her the tool necessary to impose final death upon Josh.
Am I a happy person that you used a wonderfully awesome ritual that rarely gets to be seen? Oh.
And I'd done this ritual like weeks ago, and have just been holding on to this.
And sleeper stabber.
my intention is to fully just let Amelia have it.
Well,
as a gift to the new Reaper.
So
especially because mommy is paying daddy well, so daddy has to contribute too.
Oh, mommy!
What is he, daddy, and what does he do? Yeah. He makes stabby things that kill people.
He makes things that kill people.
He makes things that will slowly kill you and you don't know it.
Oh, yeah, God,
basically. So, but we wound up going down there. Josh was there, Johnny was there, two other guys
were with him. Vampire of sorts.
Yeah.
And then a fourth vamp that we didn't identify, if I remember right.
Yeah, there was initially a little loose, idle chit-chat, but we kind of got down to business. And Josh sort of told us that he had become the new Baron of... It started with an S.
Yeah, Schomburg.
Schomburg. I was like, I know it's like something bird.
Yeah, sure.
Schomburg. And sort of like, playing up this air of like, oh, I'm making so much more money now. Like, it's so much better than that garbage Joliet.
City.
Like,
yeah,
William
we're still here.
This trash place.
We're still in Joliet, though. I mean, Frank was tempted just to stake him on the spot when he said that. I did a roll, just personality check. I got a 6, so I felt that he could hold his shit together.
Yeah.
But I would have popped Clotho's gift, grabbed the stake, and just ended him right there, and the other 3.
That would have been entertaining. Being that one of them is actually Gabe's shoulder.
Yeah, and Gabe had made that statement saying, like, if you please not kill my shoulder.
Yeah.
But there's, just like you had thinking, Gabe had thinking too, like, what's the game plan if things go bad? So...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the plan, is popping Clotho's gift as many times as it takes, short of getting to 5 hunger and just ending them.
Yeah. I was actually planning on using some of my more, my blood sorcery with the, what is it, the Ball's Caress and things like that, yeah. Yeah, which I haven't had a chance to use yet, so I was...
Looking forward to the opportunity.
Yeah.
That one is a pretty sweet one.
Yeah, it is.
That moment when we hold it together and not be murder hobos. What the hell are we doing wrong with this game?
So what we actually wound up doing was getting Abel his money, which the amount was unclear.
800K. Or no, it was he got 3/4 of a mil.
Yeah, so 75K. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Capones ended up with 250K of that, which was their cut from his contract.
Correct.
And Gabe also agreed for Josh to send patients up in his new territory to Rush.
We'll see how well that lasts.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, that's Gabe, complete ignorance, really.
Yeah.
So that was the thing, and it wound up being like, Josh was like, I thought you guys were here to fight. And we're like, well, we thought you wanted to fight, which, I mean... If we're being honest, no, we had every intention, I think, of going in there.
We went prepared.
Doing what? Yeah, we got a little murder hobo-y for about 10 minutes, and then once we actually got into it, we calmed down, we chilled out real quick.
Which I was actually quite surprised.
But I think it was because of the info dump too, like hearing, oh, he's Cammy now.
He's looking to betray us as anarchs. He's going to do some sleight of hand bullshit.
Right. So. But then with him coming at us as, no, now I'm the Baron of Schomburg. Like,
he's lying to us, or he's lying to the Camarilla.
Exactly, and that, at that point, Gabe was like, wait a minute.
That solves our problems.
We don't need to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since, we'll get to that. There was one other line item that occurred down there, if I remember
right. Which one was that?
That he had removed all of his people from Joliet.
Yes, he did say that. He did say that Gabe could come up to Schomburg and visit Johnny and teach him Tremere things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But he had taken all of the guys.
All the people loyal to him.
Supposedly. Supposedly.
So,
yeah.
I didn't bother inciting anything he said. So.
I mean, in hindsight, could I incite that? Because I mean, Frank was kind of aloof of that, anyways.
Sure, you can roll it.
All right.
I'm not gonna bother. I don't think my insight's good enough.
Well, we'll find out once. Why don't I use my real die?
I don't know.
I'll do it on stream. The new die from
Hey!
Yay!
Ones that are absolutely perfect out of the batch that she gave me.
Give me a second. I gotta pull out his sheet. Give me. That moment you're like, yeah, roll it. And you're like, oh shit, I have to pull out somebody's sheet for this shit.
8, 10, 11 crit.
Okay, give me a second. I've got 4 and okay, give me a second. And
look at those nice shiny dice by our very own Nerdy Encounters. She made those.
Right,
check out her shop.
NerdyEncounters.com.
Commissions are open. Custom vampire dice, custom made regular standard 7 sets.
Yep, D20s.
Yep,
D10s,
check them out.
6s.
As soon as I get mine, I'm taking pictures of those bad boys and posting them everywhere. I'm so excited.
I heard you commissioned them. That's awesome.
I commissioned 7 sets for our entire D&D group from her. So,
question: what did you get?
11 crit.
Okay, yeah, you did not beat. You totally beat my 7.
Oh, no, he's lying for a fact.
Actually, he wasn't lying.
Oh, good. Well, that is something Frank would bring up with his new Baron then, as a act of good faith to get into his good graces. Yeah. Because he's playing the game now.
Glad you finally learned there was a game to be played.
Ooh, fucking.
Hold on.
Oh, shit. Somebody call it.
Somebody call a doctor, but not this doctor, because this doctor just killed you.
No. Somebody needs to call the police. I think I just witnessed a murder.
That's what we call the Reaper.
That's right.
You need something to do.
Oh, mommy dearest.
I digress. So, telling the truth from what Frank could say, that would be something he would convey over to William. At some point,
100%.
Graces might earn a small boon from the new Baron for acting as his ears.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, where were we with that? So we all came out.
Feeling good with that roll.
Yeah, you came out, and then Frank had another conversation with Gwen regarding Josh.
Called in the favor.
Yes, he did. What was
he
that favor?
asked for a blood hunt on the traitor Josh,
and also mentioned that
he is going to be Baron of Schaunsburg, from what he was said in the basement.
Yep.
This is true.
And I believed him.
Yeah.
Well, from your insight check, I mean, you did a really good one compared to his 7. Yeah. Totally 100% believed him.
So there's one thing that Frank doesn't handle well. That's traitors.
So the question is...
He'll work with the camis, but...
Here's the question, though. Who is he a traitor to?
Technically, in my opinion, both sides.
Exactly. Because he tried to play us. And that's something that Frank doesn't really appreciate, because we were told he's Cammy before we went down there by people that Frank trusts more so than Josh.
And if he's it's like Schrodinger's traitor. Like, either he's lying to them and telling us the truth,
or he's lying to us
and telling them the truth.
Or he's lying to both parties.
He's a traitor in some aspect. Like,
but with that 11 crit insight,
I know for a fact that he believes that he was going to be Baron of that city up north, which means he's a traitor to the Camarilla, and I have friends in the Camarilla.
Or maybe an opportunist.
Well, that opportunist is about to have his legs ripped out from under him.
Oh, God.
I am perfectly fine with that. It's playing the game. Welcome to Vampire.
Oh, I agree. I understand.
The points don't matter anyway.
Yeah, just make sure that you have blood on tap.
Yeah.
Except for your hunger and willpower. Don't let that shit drop. And I guess your health too. Fuck.
So I think this is normally the part where we go into character insight, but I want to do a little storyteller insight. What was going through your mind when we didn't have that big ass battle you'd spent 6 hours prepping for?
Right? She floundered.
The fuck? Here I am thinking, okay, I have a group of fantastic role players who play D&D for, fun, and they happen to be slightly murder hobo.
Well, we do that during D&D, not Vampire.
Here is a brand new person. Mind you, this is not a boss.
Yeah.
What? She's not the main bad guy.
Well, no shit. I know who main bad girl is.
And the thing is that she's not even close to being, uppity, but she's there. And you guys, I'm thinking, okay, well, you guys are going to finally flex your muscles a bit, ready to fight some bitches, and go just, boom. I was ready for Amelia to cut. Amelia was going to strike first. This is how it went in my mind. Amelia was going to strike first. Gabe was going to then try and either get the Romney or Artemis. Then from there, Abel was going to kick in. Then Tanari, and then and now I thought Frank was going to be there. Frank would follow up, and then move around and then do pose order. And I'm like, okay, I had already thought we're going to go no more than 6 rounds. Normally in Vampire you're supposed to get 3, but I wanted to make sure everyone got
got a chance.
Everyone got a chance to play and to do something. So I'm thinking 6 rounds will be fine. There you go. What do you mean we're not fighting? What do you... Wait, you're at... Fuck!
I want to say, I do appreciate the fact that as a storyteller, you did not railroad us into that. Like, that is great storyteller growth, because once upon a time, I feel like you would have tried to push it I'm happy for that growth, Junie.
I was going to, and I was looking at it from the standpoint of there were some key factors people had to do. If you could do the simple key factors that were required to disengage, okay.
Yeah. And those criteria were met.
And Amelia didn't. Amelia was still the whole, I'm pissed off. I'm sorry, I love you. You know, Nerdy, you're fantastic. And it was just this, this anger.
Pussy vampire.
And that was just fueling it. But the moment that Gabe and Tanari engaged, and Abe's like, here.
And Abel.
Here's my phone number. I'm like, motherfucking Christ.
Yeah. And like, from a player standpoint, like, Gabe was pissed off that he had to be there. Mm-hmm. Like, he'd just come back from this meeting with Morgan and was like, what the fuck, somebody's in trouble again? All right. Like, so Gabe was like, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. Mm-hmm. Gonna let Amelia do her thing. If she flies off the handle, I'm here for support. Like,
right.
Mommy Dearest needs Daddy Dearest to own a bitch.
Yeah,
or the other way around.
Not wrong.
Not sure
so the fact that the conversation actually went a different direction than I had anticipated, like, was actually kind of nice. I'm really glad that Abel and Olivia were able to sort of diffuse that with their nicety, because Gabe didn't really want to be there. He didn't really want to do shit. Like, he just would have been there because he felt like he likes Amelia, so he would have helped her. But
yeah.
Well, I thought, and I've learned from how we've been doing battles in the past that I haven't given you guys enough options to handle other situation where you wanted to handle it out. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to give them several criteria. They've got to meet them. Otherwise, it's going to go here. But at the same point, I have to give you more options. And I'm trying, I wasn't overthinking it, but I was trying to plot out at least 6 to 7 different variables so that I was prepared. So if you guys wanted to throw down, or you guys wanted to do William, did not expect him in this. He was not in my cards.
Well, you didn't expect Frank to not be in the actual scene either. Like,
I actually did, to be honest, because I'm thinking if Frank realized just how crucial this was, he would have turned around and followed.
Yeah,
that was my factor.
That did happen, and I did end up rolling on that, Junie. That's the reason why it was kind of a shotgun thing. Like, after he got on his bike, after the parties left, he was just like, I did a roll, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's following, and that's the reason why I PM'd you about it, saying, hey, he's going to follow from a distance where they can't see him, la-da-da-da-da, and send a text to Josh with the previous criteria.
Well, I looked at it also from the standpoint of I wanted to also make sure that you guys understood where, in the complexity of all of this, the simple answers sometimes are the easiest.
Yeah.
And twice, you fuckers got out of this shit without a battle. And it's as a storyteller, I thought it was amazing and fantastic because it shows that you aren't just going in. I mean, don't get me wrong, you guys are fucking armed to the teeth, but you used your wits instead of your fists, and that's great because as vampires, as much as you want to say I'm a vampire, boom.
Right.
It's not always the best way of doing it.
There's tact that's needed. Yeah.
Correct.
Sometimes.
And
I do think that the situation, especially with Josh, like, needed tact because of where we were. And granted, we had Nick sort of saying, like, this is my place, like,
yeah, I don't care what anybody else says.
But I still felt like that required a little bit more than just we're here, we're gonna kill you. Like,
yeah. My name is Neo Motoyo.
Yeah, and I think... go ahead.
Oh, and I was going to say, and then with the situation on the rooftop, like, obviously it would have been made more complicated with all the Cammy watching us and, all this other shit. Like,
but the best part was you guys didn't realize that until after everything had ended. Yep. And you were like, oh, shit. Because
no masquerade breaches.
No masquerade breaches. You were in Camarilla territory without permission. You had talked... And you could have thrown down, and you could have done something.
You can cause damage to Camarilla territory as anarchs.
And there was people watching and things being recorded. Where you're showing that anarchs can talk. They can deal. They're not this brutal savage of people that are just completely and utterly whatever, and they're just going to hit and do stuff. So what you guys did not see, and what you guys do not know... Iseelie, is that you have actually helped the Anarch cause within the city. The city has, I believe, 10 or 11 seats for Anarchs on the council. You have strengthened those seats. You have strengthened more people understanding and going, look, these aren't just whiny teenagers that are going, the camera isn't fair and we're just going to do whatever, blah, 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 blah. You actually strengthened their seat and their cause.
Well, with the guidance of our new Baron, who suggested that we...
No, this was before you guys realized.
I know, but this is me thinking, how can we make this a little bit better?
Yeah, I mean, we want to leave the city in a better state than it is currently.
It's all thanks to our new Baron. He suggested that we not take extreme measures.
The best part of all of this is the second battle, when you didn't actually have it. And mind you, there was Camarilla upstairs. Do you know how many heightened senses were up?
9.
Keep going.
I'm not going higher than 9.
Many.
Yeah.
Not only were the Camarilla listening to find out what was going to throw down, so were the Anarchs.
So the bottom line is
that
Amelia is a liability. That's what I'm getting out of that.
But
that's why Daddy's there.
Amelia actually handled it well.
Yeah, she did.
She did not throw down. And the best part is that with both situations, you have now turned around, and again, this isn't what the coder is going to see in the short end, but in the long run, you have strengthened the resolves of the Anarch Council. So I don't know if people remember the end of season 1, where Artemis managed to get William and Amelia seats on the council.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Because of that, because of what your actions are doing now,
we're setting up season 1.
It's further cementing what had happened at the end of season 1. So you're putting these people into good places and into better seats of power. And because of how you're handling this, even though you don't see it on the front end, the back end, people are going, oh. What you also,
a small coterie is doing the right thing. Go figure.
What you also didn't notice was Olivia's email to her sire.
Yes, I do remember.
That.
There was briefly mentioned that she was doing that.
You did not see what his responses were.
Mm-mm.
Was it pride?
Was
it being proud?
He was like, oh, well, do take care because your coterie is making waves. People are knowing them now. Even though Amelia does have a reputation, Gabe has a reputation now. Abel and Frank.
Oh shit, the thin blood has a reputation.
People are noticing this now.
That's gonna have to change.
Right?
People are noticing within your coterie group and within your section how you're working. Now, yes, people believe that Frank is still a thin blood. And they're going, wait a minute. If these vampires can play and work with a thin blood, are we really giving them the short end of the stick?
If only they knew.
So what actually, again, what you don't see on the back end is that Anarchs, Independents, they're starting to give thin bloods a bit more of a shake instead of steak.
Which is nice. And I mean, that's what we found out from the camis a week or two back was that under the current prince, they were not staking thinnies.
Correct.
They weren't just throwing them to the wolves.
I haven't had steak and shake in a long time.
I know, right? Neither have I.
I know.
It's delicious.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of the smallest Ed playing the smallest violin.
I know. God damn it, Ed.
I know.
You and your fucking twos, mate.
You're not wrong. Oh my god. I swear to God. But and what's cool about all this as a storyteller, and I don't mean to go on a whole diatribe on this, is that how you guys are handling the situations I'm throwing at you. And again, I try to think of at least 3 to 4 different scenarios and 3 to 4 different ways you're going to handle it. Every single fucking time, I feel like Matt Mercer wanting to crumble up some piece of paper, rip something apart, and go, well, that's 3 hours of bullshit I can't get back anymore. Or 4 hours or 6.
But tell me that sometimes when it happens, there's like that part of you that's like, I'm so proud of them.
Every time.
That's the point.
Because I know that happens to me when people just get rid and derail of like my DM plans and they screw it up. I'm like, I hate you, but congratulations.
Exactly. It's my job to try and kill you. And every fucking time you're like, oh no. Wait a minute. Bunny out of hat. And I'm going,
but to be fair, we also do a pretty good job of trying to kill ourselves half the time, too.
This is true.
We're Schrodinger's players. We're not alive or dead until you open the box.
Right?
You're not wrong.
We're mostly dead.
There's a couple of times where I'm looking at it like, okay, how do you want to do this? How do you want to change this situation from where you put yourself into to how do you get yourself out of it? And actually watch you guys do that thought process. That's actually the best time I have. When I'm sitting here crocheting, don't have to do shit, and you guys are talking and moving things around, I'm paying attention. I'm not saying anything because I don't have to. You guys are doing all the work, and I'm just
playing our characters.
You're playing your characters, but you're doing critical thinking, not a critical role, critical thinking, in the standpoint of working together as a group and using your dynamics to get yourself out of a situation. And that, I think, is something that's poignant and key to the storyteller, because it's like, look, I have a whole bunch of people. They decide to play these weird-ass characters. How do you act as a team?
Yeah. So I really want to see what happens next. I want to see if the team winds up going to Germany.
I'm okay with it. I mean, everything's been resolved. Josh is being handled. And, I mean, at this point...
I was trying to think if there was anything else that we currently had on the docket. Like,
I mean, any projects that come up on William's behalf, but should the Reaper really go to a different country now is an issue, and people.
Well, if I feel like if the whole group wouldn't be able to go, then it would probably wind up being Gabe and Abe going to Germany to find
the Gable adventures.
If that's what Abe wanted, Gabe would help with that.
Yeah.
And then Gabe would just pass off all of his lab stuff to Frank.
Oh, there's plenty of things on the docket saying as storyteller, but that's fine. However, if you guys think this is all ended over with and tied with a bow, that's fine with me.
No, we know that. We were just, do we have, like, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, do we have, like, enough time in the next week or two to, like, you know, take a week, go to Germany, take care of that situation, and come back? Probably.
Odds are William would try to push you to stick around a while longer until his hold on Joliet's stiff. And then he would probably sanction a trip to Germany for whatever project you need.
Gabe actually plans
cards.
Gabe's actually going to try to find if somebody, like, if there's like a vampire bakery where he can pick up like a bloody red velvet cake for William.
Oh God,
we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I roleplay in a stream where I roleplay in a server where they actually have a place called Sweet Tooth, where you can actually buy baked goods that vampires can eat.
I want that.
So yes, we found out that William can shit.
Well,
there we go. Then when Gabe starts mirror walking, he can just show up in his bathroom anytime.
Do you mind? I am trying to...
No, I don't mind. Keep going. It's fine. I'll just sit here and wait.
Can you wait in the other room?
Why? It's fine in here. The lighting's perfect.
This is fine.
I have performance anxiety. Do you mind?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're shy. I didn't realize. Okay, you know, I'm a doctor, right? I deal with various types of bodily fluids all the time.
Well,
there's no need to be shy.
Pieces. It's not necessary to admire your work from afar. I'd greatly appreciate it if you wait until I'm finished.
How's that healing, by the way?
It's a little crooked, if you must know.
Oh, I can fix that.
No, please, I'm good.
Yeah, see, it's the whole thing. It's
Regardless,
a whole thing.
The mirror's right there. You can show yourself out.
No, and Artemis will be downstairs in the kitchen going, "Are y'all done up there?"
Oh, Artie's here. Lovely.
Yes, go party with Artie. Not sure why I went Brit with it. Fuck. Yes, go party with Artie. It's perfect.
If you're watching him, let me know if he's doing good. If you're watching him, let me know if he's doing okay. He had a little bit of
he's solid 6 out of 10.
Only a 6?
I'm not blushing right now. It's perfect.
I thought it was an 8 at least. Oh,
he's straining.
Oh, did he lose some?
I'm not blushing right now. It's fine.
Did he lose some in a bit? Because like he used
he's
to be
a placid 6. God damn it. When he blushes, it's a full 10. Fuck it.
He used to be a 9. He used to be a 9. I don't know what happened.
This went fucking off the rails. We apologize, folks. Any other closing comments or questions that you have there, or any ideas of what's coming up next, at least on our side? Projects that we need to work on?
Who, for me?
No, I'm talking to Sam.
Oh, good.
Or Sai, rather.
I mean, outside of what I've already mentioned, not so much from Gabe's end of things.
I got you.
I mean, obviously, this whole curse thing needs to be dealt with, but...
Yeah. It needs to be finished.
Yeah.
Probably won't happen until bad things happen to mediocre vampires that are in baby cages.
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody realizes what this is really a part of and decides to try and find things and connect the dots and put them all together.
I don't know. Did my crit 8 or 11 or whatever I got the other day cover that? When I was going through the USB sticks?
Not yet. I mean, you still don't understand how Voltron gets together.
That's fair. Frank would probably continue researching into that and maybe tap into Amelia's library for other resources over this week.
I'm looking for successes. I'm looking for about a 20.
All right, 25. So additive or multiplicative?
Not multiplicative, additive.
All right. So, I mean, that's a 6 nights worth of research.
I will give you this, and I will say this now, and yes, I know I'm being recorded, and this is going to shoot me in the fucking butt at some point.
Flip it.
Oh, goody.
Flip it.
If you want to get higher successes than what your dice give you for one roll, you do have a week from session to session. I do this on a server. You guys can do it as well. Every day, you turn around and you then roll.
That's the plan.
Keep those dice. If you're doing, like, say you're doing a thaumaturgy roll and you want a high roll for whatever spiritual, you say, look, I spent 3 days doing this. Here's my total roll. Or, hey, I'm doing this research for this path or this ritual. I researched all week. It's all additive on what you want to do. I have Artemis.
I imagine that would be intelligence occult, and then she gets a +3 modifier for her library. So I'd have 10 die per day.
Yep.
Well, let's go ahead and knock it out real quick.
Oh, you're going to have to do this throughout the entire week. You're aware of this.
First roll's a 7.
Good. Well, write it down.
Well,
no. Every day. Every day.
I can't call out
that 2
much,
didn't count.
That 2 didn't
count.
count.
That 2 didn't count. The first 7 counted, though. It's okay. I got a messy crit for my third day. So
that's fair. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, like, when I have to make guns as Artemis on I do 3 or 4 days. I had to make a custom crossbow. I put 22 successes and 2 crits on that.
And it works.
Oh, it's beautiful. But it's. I'm using that as an example of
long-term planning.
Long-term planning, but also making sure that you realize, oh, I only did that one roll. I burned a willpower, and I'm only getting this. Why am I not getting the results I want?
Yeah.
It's
because it's an additive.
Right.
So the more success. Makes sense.
If you want that long game, which I know somebody's playing in their life, play it in game 2. So that you know that if you really want something hard enough, that you're going to not only long game it, but you're also going to make sure that you've got other things in a row.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yay! Junie's Guide to Success.
That note, was there anything else we needed to touch upon for Vampire, or is that about summing up our review, or should we do a TLDR version real quick?
Sure.
TLDR. We could have died.
TLDR. Artemis was kidnapped. We rescued Artemis. William took his rightful place as Baron of Joliet. His BFF, Gabe, wants to hang out. And conversation was had with Josh. somebody got paid. The end.
That's the important bit. Somebody got paid.
And that's what you missed on The Last Breath yesterday. Thank you for joining us for Take a Breath. What's the command for social medias?
I think it's I think it's !family for the other.
Yep. If you've enjoyed us, go hang out with other members of the family.
Let's try social.
World of Darkness, McStabber Studios, Henna Gaming, Near Dark Studios, Faye the Pagan, Q-Times, Penny Arcade, Roll For It, and just thanks for hanging out with us on Twitch and listening to what we did yesterday.
How fun! I would host people, but nobody's on right now, so go find your favorite people that you want to host and support. We'll see you guys all later. Bye.
Bye.